Hey everyone, back on the floor of recruitDC for some more live interviews with the participants. And here we have the fairly famous, or infamous in his own mind at least, Steve Levy.
He's a legend, just like Martin, legends in our own mind.
Exactly, exactly. People don't know us, but we know ourselves and each other, so there's that. So Steve, Steve is senior manager of technical recruiting, or?
I'm happy for the promotion, but manager technical recruiting.
I'll email your boss.
Manager, well, you probably, I know you know my boss, at least the name only. I'm the manager of technical recruiting for Zipco, buy now, pay later, global buy now, pay later company.
Okay. Who was your boss?
I am not obliged nor obligated nor clear to give you that
He doesn't really
information.
have a job. He lives in a cardboard box down by the river.
I just don't want Burns to know about it.
All right, so but in all seriousness, Steve, you've been coming to recruitDC since the founding, or?
Not the founding, but not too long after Ben started.
Okay. So quite a while.
That would be Ben Gotkin,
Right.
you know, recruitDC savant and founder.
Is he still involved with recruitDC? Is he around?
No, he's not involved with recruitDC. He doesn't live too far from it,
All right.
but
They peeled off, which makes sense. So.
yeah, sometimes you have to, after you give birth,
Yep.
you have to let the kids go off
Yep.
and
Yep.
go for themselves and do their own thing.
Makes total sense.
Yep.
So we're back live for the first time in 3 years. Have you been to any conferences besides this one in the last, say, a couple of years?
No, actually no, I haven't gone to any live conference. I took one trip out to Mountain View for the Hire Easy rebrand a couple of months back. Other than that, I've been doing virtual conferences, and I have reached my limit, I think, on virtual conferences, because we've both been to conferences
Right.
together, and you've seen me talk, and I feed off the audience.
Yep. Well, the action's also in the hallways. It's after hours. It's not. I mean, the sessions are great. Don't get me wrong. You're not connected. You're not networking the same way online.
Yeah, and there's a good amount of truth to that. I mean, many of the ideas that we've seen in the last couple of decades, and we've both been doing this for a couple of decades.
Speak for yourself.
No, I'm speaking for you too.
You ain't even more than a camera boy.
I know he's 26, but he's almost 30. But most of the really good ideas, they've come as a result of churning and conversing and just throwing around wild ideas, much in the early days of the digital era of electronic recruiting. Shout out to David Manister and your exchange, electronic recruiting exchange. I know back in the old days with .net, which has now been shortened to ERE.net. It has the live conferences have that feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't create real solid ideas. You can't have the type of conversation that births these good ideas in a virtual environment. So it's critical that we get back to these. It's critical for the industry because we're facing another inflection point, a paradigm shift. We've seen others before, but now we have people like us, the older generation. We're moving to a different level. I didn't say different place, Burns. I didn't say different place.
Go ahead.
Our perspectives on recruiting change.
Sure, for sure.
One thing that happens as the more years you spend in this, the more you crave simplicity. And we're now reached a point from a TA Tech point of view where machine learning, AI, artificial technology, are in some minds of people supplanting the human interaction that we are seeing is actually more important now than ever before.
Yeah. But I think it's more subtle now too. Because you can use tools to automate and accelerate certain tasks, and they make sense. But that should, in theory, should free us up to do more subtle work, the more emotive stuff, to get more deeper understanding of our candidates and our clients.
One would hope
One
that would be the case, but like anything else, what more automation, what more technology does, to many in our profession, they rely more on that than realizing that they have time to actually step to the side and focus on human interaction, personalization, really understanding the motivation of why are you looking? what are you looking for that you're not getting where you are right now?
Right.
That's the art that we talk about amongst ourselves in the hallways, when vendors are buying us adult beverages afterwards. But we do talk about that.
It's true.
Those are the elements of our profession that are really important to us.
Yeah, and I think it's. So I'm sort of I bridge the gap, I guess, a little bit because I'm a little bit younger than you. Not a lot, but maybe a little bit.
You have more gray hair than I do.
That's fair. Well, 2 years in public accounting, that did it to me. But I do think that there are benefits to the automation and the technology. What I worry about is that we sort of oversold ourselves that it's all ready to go. I don't think we're nearly there yet in automation and AI.
No, I think you've heard me say this before. If it's written in Python, it's machine learning.
Right.
If it's written in PowerPoint, it's AI.
Right.
And you may remember a couple of years ago, Rob McIntosh and I wrote two, I guess, pro-con articles about AI on ERE.
Yep.
And he wrote about, AI is going to revolutionize everything we do. And I wrote back with an article that was titled "Artificially Stupid Recruiting," which speaks to the things that the Isaac Asimovs of the world used to speak about when they talked when back decades ago, when he said, "Look, be careful, be careful what you wish for," and you have to temper everything. AI. Everyone talks AI. We have AI in this. We have AI in that. But reality is primarily just machine learning. And the one way that when I go to shows and someone says we have AI in our product, I go, show me the AI.
Yeah. Is it talking to me yet?
No. Where do you get it
Does
from?
it have a lawyer?
I know. Really, a publicist.
But you hear about the lawyer thing though?
No.
So the Google AI that the engineer's claiming is sentient.
Yes.
He's now claiming, or someone is, that it is a lawyer.
Okay.
So I'm not sure, is this an intelligence or just process, but.
I'm leaning right now more towards process, partially because when you think about how lawyers interpret laws and statutes, there's a lot of.
I mean, the machines define the process, but I'm with you in that. I think we need to be careful not to rely too much on it. There's the what was the movie came out maybe 10 years ago, with the robot on Earth. The Earth was like a junkyard at that point, and it finds love. It's like a
I know.
Wally.
But
when they show the
Wally,
humans are all up in a spaceship.
He remembers because he saw it. He was placing
kindergarten.
Yeah,
he's looking for kids during nap time.
Yeah.
He
does. He says, "I hate you too." I stopped recording 5 minutes.
I hate you, old man. No, so when they show the people, the human race, they're in a big spaceship above the Earth, and they're all fat on their gliders on Facebook basically all the time. They've automated everything.
Yeah, well, that also brings to mind the old Charlton Heston movie called Soylent Green.
Oh God, yeah.
Soylent Green is people, but all these things are exaggeration. Well, maybe not so much exaggerations of what we think things might turn into if we allow the machines to run our lives.
Right.
And
we all want Star Trek.
Well, the irony, we do to some extent too. But think human resources. Won't the irony of being called human resources in a highly automated AI-driven age has not been lost on me. I know it's not lost on you either.
Nope. It's machine resources.
Of course it is. It's artificially AIR.
Machine language resources, actually. MLR. Maybe. I don't know.
Isn't that like an MLR degree?
Why not? All right. So, Steve, it was great catching up with you. Always good seeing you. I'll see you again probably in a couple months, so they're back on the road.
I believe you will.
Good.
We have things coming up. I am going to be doing one or two more virtual conferences with friends of ours because that's what we do for friends.
Yeah, sure.
But nothing replaces, in real life conferences. So when you get a chance to, if you get the opportunity to actually go to a conference live, go there. And it's the first step towards returning to some level of normalcy. Even if you do wear a mask, it doesn't really matter. There's nothing. There's no.
Well, you're three-dimensional.
You're three-dimensional, and virtual hugs are nice, but virtual hugs don't buy me beers.
That's fair. That's
True.
fair.
There you
That's
go.
True. That's true. Steve, thanks again.
Sir,
Senior.
thank you very much.
Talk to you soon.
Cheers.
Thanks.